what does it do to someone when you're 15 years old and almost anything you can do, you can get a positive response to?
Should I enjoy my time in real life in person right now and then take a picture after? Or should I take a picture and send it to 100,000 of my followers so we can all enjoy this together?
How do we as a culture begin to address boys' and girls' needs for deep connection and not see social networking simply surface-wise as the solution?
What is kind of that point when you go from being just a regular kid using it to being someone who kind of has this like micro fame or micro celebrity?
How are they going to turn out when they're 40? How are they going to communicate when they're 50? Would my followers want a picture of this?
I mean, that's the thing, that's what we're so interested to see, the world behind the Instagram pictures.
So, I mean, you know some of the backstory of what we're doing, right? But I think like before we get into any of that stuff, it would probably be really good if you just kind of did an introduction, like introduce us to yourself. What's your name? What do you do? Like
what I do for fun and stuff like that?
Yeah, just like tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, just kind of break the ice a little bit.
My name is Sean Magera, and I'm 15 years old. I like to skateboard and hang with my friends a lot, play basketball, soccer, and I enjoy listening to music, and that's pretty much it. I started using Instagram in about a year ago, in April, and like the journey of it was kind of really complicated because I met my friend Lena. She helped me with Instagram to get a lot of followers. She helped me get started. She helped me meet a lot of Instagram famous people that could help me. It wasn't really a slow process. It took about a month to get me to 10,000 followers from her help a lot. But let's say if she posted a picture of us FaceTiming, I would gain about 200 followers just because me and her are friends. Yeah. It felt like it happened overnight.
You go with the 5 o'clock, you finish work, you're going with your son to the mall and everybody run after him. You're like happy, hey, what's going on? I don't know what's happening with my Sean. Yeah. And I ask him, Sean, what's going on? He said, Mom, it's Instagram, it's not me. I just put a picture and everybody after me.
You'll go places and people will notice you. Like, it doesn't have to be how many followers you have. It's how many people like know about you. Like, he goes to the mall and gets recognized on the daily. And
I went in line to get a drink of water with my friend, and she taps me on my back. She was like, turn around. I turn around, there's like a line of 50 people just waiting to take a picture. It was ridiculous. Am I famous, or it's just like, what? I don't know what's going on. Like, I had a headache. I mean, they comment stuff like, oh, you're so perfect. Let me have your babies, or be my baby daddy, and stuff like that. It's like, I guess they can't. Sometimes I feel like they over-exaggerate. And my fan pages, they're actually really sweet. They keep me going with it. And if they see like a hate comment, they'll be like, oh, why don't you shut up? He's just perfect the way he is. He's this and that. So. A
lot of girls around them, all the time they come in this, Sean. Everybody come to me like the nice, you Mom Sean? I said, yeah, Mom Sean, you know. It's like something that we never think about this, you know. It's coming because they Instagram.
I'm still the same person I've always been. It doesn't really change your attitude. And if it does, then you have to reevaluate your life because it's just an app. We're just gonna meet up with our followers, fans, whatever you want to call them, and we're just gonna like chill.
My guess is with these kids that experience a lot of fame from it is that it's a very strong high, you know, because you're getting a lot of attention, and but that it's not actually fulfilling what they deeply need and want in terms of this kind of human connection.
I think that we're going to start moving at looking at these kinds of micro celebrities. These people that started out as internet famous, I think will become more and more famous in the realm of mainstream culture.
It's like when you're younger, everyone asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And like you respond, famous.
At the water cooler, what we talk about is, sure, we talk about, you know, sports, and we talk about celebrities, and we talk about these people that are on TV and movies, audience. But TV and movies now is only part of the equation. You know, now there's Instagram, now there's Facebook, now there's Twitter, now there's Vine. All these different platforms that I think younger generations are going to talk about at the water cooler. Like, did you see, you know, XYZ's Vine last night?
It's a new kind of celebrity landscape, right? Because they can also reply back to you. They can talk to you in a comment. They can communicate with you in a way that crushes. When I was growing up, I had a crush on the New Kids on the Block, but I wasn't going to be able to talk to Jordan Knight.
Yeah.
But these guys can actually talk back to you in a way that does create an even more intimate connection, which is why I genuinely believe these will be the next, for the teens today, this will be what they view celebrity as.
Because in their eyes, they're not just following that person. You know, they're a part of that person's audience. They're in their entourage. They know what that person is waking up to. They know what they're having for lunch.
You know, I think the reason why I find just fame by itself on a sort of thin interpretation is less interesting, because in some ways it's a desire for, you know, lots of recognition, and so there's not a complicated answer. Why do people seek fame? Because it gives you a kind of recognition and kind of power, and that obviously feels good.
I remember one time I didn't post a picture for like 3 days because I was not in the mood, and they kept commenting, "Where are you? Where are you? We miss you."
When you get 100 likes on an Instagram photo, even if you're not one of these little celebrities, you feel happy about that. Social media has created this new kind of validation for people, and this new thing that makes them feel good about themselves. Whether or not that's good or bad will remain to be seen, and we have no idea what the psychological impacts going forward will be of social media.
We live in a culture, and I have to say this repeatedly, but we really live in a culture that is based on a set of values that is literally goes against our human nature. So our human nature is to want relationships, to be in relationships, to thrive in relationships. Charles Darwin says the reason why we've thrived as a species is because of our social nature. So that, you know, think about what that means.
We already know that certain kinds of social media make people feel better, certain kinds make them feel depressed. But we do know that there are things that happen in social media that make you feel good. You feel validated by a group of your peers, by a group of your fans, however it is you decide to describe it.
It needs to go deeper. It needs to go deeper. What else can we do for him that can allow him to feel heard and seen and connected?
You take a lot of pictures of yourself too.
Yeah,
What motivates that?
the amount of likes, and I guess they want it.
I think being a teenager is a dangerously narcissistic time, because I think that you're also trying to figure out your self-esteem generally, figuring out who you are. And so I think that narcissism comes in the fact that teenagers seek validation even more than adults.
James Franco came out with an editorial in the New York Times about a month ago saying that if he went across an account and they didn't have any selfies, he didn't like that because he felt like he couldn't trust that person. He didn't know who that person was. Yeah. So I think it's almost changed from narcissism to almost an expected narcissism online, where like you have to take a selfie every once in a while. You have to show your audience who you are.
Well, you know, I mean, because in some sense the focus on the self, I mean, the narcissism is so encouraged in the culture, so it's not so surprising. But what we think we're going to find in a culture obsessed with the self, obsessed with autonomy, independence, self-sufficiency, and diminishing of relationships, is we're going to ultimately find isolation and loneliness.
And clearly they posed, and that was the 30th take of that picture. But people like that. They want to see that content. You know, they get the most likes out of those. They get the most content generated out of that.
Yeah.
So is that really narcissism if people are encouraging it?
Is it really narcissism?
And people expect it?
But again, if that fame was embedded, I mean, it's nice for people to get fame in the sense that they're getting recognition for good work. But if that fame is embedded in a close-knit community, where you're having a lot of the experience of what I call thick love in your homes and in your workplace, etc., then the crash wouldn't be as devastating. It simply wouldn't be as devastating. So I make this distinction between thin and thick love because I think thin love is in some sense the way our culture defines love, which you see all sorts of ways between teenagers and between people all over the place, which is the I love you, love ya, the movie I Love You Man, all sorts of ways we're using love in a very, very, very thin way. The fact that we have 50 BFFs, you know, when in fact BFF means best friend forever. You can't have 50 BFFs. Whereas thick love is really about being in a mutual relationship in which you're both being listened to, you both feel heard, you both have deep trust between you, you're able to express your vulnerability with each other and trust the other person won't mock you. And that's, you know, when someone listens to you and you get to share opinions on things, that actually fosters a sense of thick love.
People have always said that there's a negative impact to people chasing fame without substance. I've never made a judgment call on that because good things can come out of being famous. You can use that fame for leverage in other things. But I will say that a lot of people think that it's leading to the downfall of our society.
People that are always on their phone are missing out on real life experiences. I think people that first think that, you know, oh my God, the great sunset, I take a picture of it. Or oh my God, this is so much fun, I need to share it with 100,000 of my followers.
Yeah.
You know, people then aren't really living in the moment. And then they're looking back on certain moments just through a picture and just through their phone. Which, yeah, I mean, you could definitely argue that that's not real life and that's not real relationships and that's not really what this whole thing is about. But, you know, if people are choosing that, then they're choosing that.
What I really want young people to focus on is how to find good and quality, mutual, trusting and loving relationships. And then do the Instagram as much as you want and seek fame on it. But just make sure it's in the context of a loving relationships. And not just one, too. I mean, friendships, romantic partners, family members, all sorts of relationships, close relationships. And then you can go off and do your Instagram and get fame doing Instagram.
If tomorrow, like, all of Instagram, like, died and disappeared and there was nothing like that anymore, how would you feel?
I think I would feel the same as I feel now. Just go on with my life.